I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
You must listen. What I'm about to tell you will change the course of history.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
You know, people can say what they want. I don't really care. But this person ain't nothing but a baby CIA in my eyes. I say that because I looked at, you see where it says Snoop Dogg helps Kai. First of all, Snoop Dogg is just trying to gain access any way he can. That's what CIAs do. They try to gain access to the next generation just to infiltrate. That's what they know for doing, infiltrating. And I just find it very interesting. Snoop Dogg, tell who you really work for. Tell what you really do, poo-poo. Tell what you really do. Stop playing the part, poo.
Crazy facts about the CIA. During the Vietnamese Buddhist crisis in the early 1960s, CIA agents noticed that Buddhists protesting against the Diem regime would stand strong in the face of police violence and even tear gas, but they would stop protesting when the rains came. Noticing this reaction to the weather, the agency then deployed US aircrafts rigged with silver iodide and seeded the skies over demonstrations. The rains made the demonstrations stop and Operation Popeye was born. Between 1967 and 1972, the secret operations deployed aircraft to seed specific areas along the Ho Chi Minh Trail with the intention of softening road surfaces, causing landslides and washing out rivers and generally disrupting the movement of soldiers and resources into South Vietnam, as well as providing cover for US bomb deployments. The operation extended the monsoon season and is estimated to have increased rainfall over parts of Vietnam by 30%. The program was revealed to the public in 1971, and this discovery would lead to the banning of environmental modification by the end of the decade.
Of course, hip-hop is not the only musical genre that has been infiltrated by the CIA, and certainly not the first. Many popular musicians of the second half of the 20th century, like David Crosby, John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, and Frank Zappa, grew up on military bases. They also resided in Los Angeles, in a military intelligence base on Laurel Canyon, where they were allegedly involved in the CIA's MKUltra program, a mind control operation whose real focus was to produce or at least manipulate the 60s counterculture scene. Jim Morrison was one of the earliest to arrive. He was son of the U.S. Navy admiral in command of the warships involved in the false flag operation known as the Gulf of Tonkin incident of 1964, which was used to justify the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War.
There's a conspiracy out there about Laurel Canyon. Now, Laurel Canyon is out in California, and there was a Air Force watchtower out there back in the late World War II area, back in the 1960s. And back then they had a studio there. Now this studio had a sound stage, a editing stage, a animation editing room. It had everything. Now this place, I guess, was used for the atomic testing footage. So all that footage was taken to this studio in Laurel Canyon and was edited there. And was processed. So after they got this, they reviewed all the footage from the atomic testing. Now what's really strange about this is, a lot of musicians came out of this place back in the 1960s. Actually, all of those hippie musicians that you hear actually came from Laurel Canyon.
So this news caught me off guard because I'm like, why is nobody talking about this really major family, right? So there is a house that burned down in Laurel Canyon, which is a part of Los Angeles, California, that is said to have allegedly belonged to a member of the prominent Rothschild family whose name was William Rothschild. Now, there are certain paperwork that show that he was 77 years old, but there's other paperwork that shows that he was 87 years old. Nevertheless, they said that William was found unalived in this Laurel Canyon house after the fire. Now, this is a 825 square foot, 2-bedroom house in Laurel Canyon that neighbors say was not with any razzle dazzle. It had no special effects, and he was pretty recluse. He stayed to himself. People didn't really know him. They didn't know how old he was, and the actual information regarding who owned the house outside of the last name and verifying that it allegedly did belong to a member of the Rothschild family can't actually be confirmed. But it's so interesting that this person was found unalived in their home. There's no discussion. Now, I don't know if you all are familiar, but the Rothschild family at one point was said to have amassed the largest fortune of a family on Earth, the planet, okay, after Mansa Musa. So they at one point, before their family spread off into different fields in energy and finance and real estate and whatnot, they were one of the absolutely most prominent families, and I believe to this day still house quite a bit of wealth. So it is interesting that when you look at this property, because they said that this picture is after the fire, when you look at this property, it doesn't show that William was living in the lavish life, but they say he was an older gentleman that really kept to himself. And there are witnesses that saw the fire. They said that they saw large flames. They heard glass breaking. This one man said he didn't hear anything, he didn't see anything, but he heard a woman screaming, "Oh my God, that's awful." But he thought that's just because she had found out about his passing. But nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about what happened. Nobody's talking about how the fire started, how it ended. They said it took about 45 firefighters in about over 30 minutes to take the fire down. But by then, this man was no longer alive. This is all alleged, but it just makes you go, because there's a part of me that feels like people are not being unalive. They're just leaving and we just don't know it. But that's just me, because I just never know what to believe anymore. But it's just like, if this person was unalive, what's the big secret about his age? Why was he living in this way if he was part of this prominent family? What is it that we don't know that we don't know? And why isn't this even on the news, right? But anyways, this is Provi with the news you can use. If you have any more details or information, please drop a comment. If you don't know about this, I implore you to do your research. Google is your best friend. Like, follow, share for more. I'll be back with more. Love you. Bye.
You know Rainbolt, the pro geoguesser who guessed Kaisenat's exact location for $100,000. But what if I told you this wasn't what he originally wanted to do, and he had a different plan where he didn't even take geoguesses seriously? Whilst in Colorado, Rainbolt had a side hustle where he posted a Steph Curry clip. It blew up and he gained traction in the NBA community. But it got to a point where school just became background noise for him. And he knew he had to make enough money to prove to his parents that this could be something real. So that's what he did. He dropped out of college and moved to San Francisco. At the time, even though he wasn't making much, it eventually all paid off. At the time also, he was working with a social media company, and they eventually moved to LA where he worked with them for 5 years, and it became successful. But by now, he's been making online content for 10 years, so he understands the game and knows how to get viral. But still, he wanted to go his own route to prove to his parents once again that he can do it. So he started looking more into GeoGuessr and realized, wait, I'm pretty good at this, but he wanted to get even more better. This meant zero social life, meaning he was fully locked in on a tunnel vision of getting good at GeoGuessr, and we all know what happened. To a point where, according to his interview with The Face, he's able to pinpoint places on the moon and Mars. Truly CIA level stuff.
All right, guys. So we previously told you that there is a journalist, an accomplished journalist named Yoichi Clark Shimatsu, formerly the editor of the Japan Times, who made some stunning claims about Kamala Harris and her late mother, Shamla Goplin. As a graduate of Berkeley University, Clark, as he prefers to be called, ran in the same circles as them. And he claims that Kamala's mother was a part of the CIA's MK Ultra program, a psychopathic, sadistic program that ran throughout the 60s, probably is still running today, in which Americans and even government agents alike were drugged and sometimes murdered with the aim of brainwashing the masses. Clark also claims, rather stunningly, that Kamala Harris was previously married to a wealthy Canadian, a marriage which her connections to the deep state have gone through great pains to delete from public record. So is he telling the truth? Well, I'll let you decide, because today we welcome him onto the show. Welcome back to Candace.
Is that why Drusky's so famous?
Do y'all like my outfit? And y'all know I'm crazy for real. Y'all know I'm crazy, right? I think everybody know I'm crazy. And you know what they say about crazy people? What? You better not get too close to them or they might bite. And I bite. And there's a lot of people that know I bite. So, before I bite somebody in this bitch, play that music.